Hey y'all, I'm Elisa, the Scrappy Wife behind ScrappyWife.com. I'm on a mission to catch up on my memory planning before the end of the year. Will I be able to do it? All right, I am still on a mission to get caught up by the end of the year. I am in the beginning of October, so not crazy far behind, but we're going to zoom right along, do a couple of weeks this week, and I'm going to use Vicki Boutin, one of my favorite creators, one of my favorite artists, one of my favorite designers. We're going to use some of her collection, specifically the Sweet Rush collection. I've used it a ton in this memory planner, and it's my favorite, so there's no reason to not use it again. All right, I will put you guys on fast forward. I will link everything that I use down below. Otherwise, let's go. One of the things I love about Vicki Boutin's collections are the wide range of colors. Obviously, I'm someone that loves bright colors. I love rainbow, but because there are so many colors represented in this particular collection, I can flip through and pick a few that I think perhaps lend themselves a little bit more to fall. You might disagree. I get that the pink and the yellow and the bright florals right there might not feel very fall-like, but picking out the orange and then maybe this dark black blue color brings in a little bit more darkness, which makes it a little bit more seasonally appropriate. I will say I'm not always very worried about seasonally appropriate for my memory planning. I know that the next couple of weeks will be Halloween type spreads, so I can save my Halloween things for those. In this case, I'm just wanting to document these pictures, and if it feels like bright colors will best fit the pictures or best fit my mood, then that is what we are going to go with in this spread. My first step in almost any memory planning spread is to go ahead and mat the pictures. And I do this for a couple of reasons. First of all, the boxes on this vertical memory planner are not exactly 2x3. This is the Happy Planner vertical layout in the big size, and they're not exactly 2x3. I print my pictures 2x3 because I print them 4 to 1 page using an app called Print to Size, which is available for all Apple products. So they're not exactly 2x3, so they don't fit perfectly in each of the vertical rectangles. So matting them helps me gain a little maybe forgiveness, you might say, so that if something doesn't line up perfectly, it still looks okay on my page. So I love that. I also think it helps bring the pictures together. Because I do memory planning in more of a random style, meaning I just do all the pictures from the week. They don't all necessarily have to do with each other. They might have a lot of different colors in them. Matting them on similar papers helps bring them together, even if the subject matter or the colors are unrelated. So I have all of the pictures matted, and now I'm just doing one of my very favorite techniques, which is torn paper. It brings in a ton of color, takes up a little space on the spread so I don't have to do quite as much embellishment, and I can really set the tone for the spread. So I tear this scrap of paper, and we're going to be pretty generous with the adhesive. I'm going to put it over on the left-hand side, and then we'll also bring it over here on the right-hand side. It will overflow from one page to another, which is perfect because I feel like it brings the two pages together. I just have to trim off the excess and then cut the two pages apart. Don't be afraid to take some of your decorations across the page, across that spine. I know it can feel like we should stay confined to the boxes, but really I just take the whole memory planning layout, so those vertical boxes, as a suggestion of things that I could do with a particular spread, but not necessarily things that I have to do with a particular spread. Now that I have those images in place, I just need to figure out where my photos will go. I decided to go ahead and keep these lined up. Almost all of these photos are actually from the end of the week. I am redistributing them across the page just because I could not possibly fit them all on the weekend. It's sometimes the case that the busier my family is, the less photos we take, and that's been the case this fall. We have something every single evening of the week and usually both days on the weekend. So literally activities every single day, after school, after work. It's been a crazy time. So I don't always have great photos when we are super busy, but they do tend to kind of put this I don't know, they tend to be congregated toward the weekend or concentrated toward the weekend. So sometimes I have to redistribute just a little bit just to make the spread work a little bit better. You might be able to tell that I tend to work in layers in my memory planning, meaning I do a background layer first. That would be the scrapbook paper. Once I know what I like for my background, I go ahead and adhere it down to the page. The next layer generally is photos because that's the next biggest piece on my page. So I figure out where my photos are going to go. Once I feel pretty good about it, I go ahead and adhere them onto the page. Some people like to do their layouts where they lay absolutely every little thing out on the page before they start adhering things, before they start using their tape runner or glue or whatever it is they're going to use. I like to go in stages because it makes it easier for me to make decisions along the way if I'm kind of getting some things set. So for instance, I have all the photos set. Now I can play with these stickers. I can go ahead and get them down. I'm working into smaller and smaller details, working with some stickers that I had left over from this particular set. I have crushed this Vicky Bouton set. I love, love, love all of these. Like I said, I've used them several times. Some people don't like to repeat themes or patterns in their scrapbooks, in their memory keeping, in their memory planning. For me, if you love a collection, why not use it a ton of times? Why not just completely go for it? I think you could even take one whole collection and use it like year round. So maybe it is a collection like this that doesn't necessarily have a particular theme and you just love it. Why wouldn't you do a whole month of memory keeping with that particular collection? Because it brings you joy. And I don't think you have to just reinvent the wheel each and every single time. The last step for this page will be to go ahead and add in the lines. I like to use a T ruler in this case to just kind of eyeball and add in lines for me to do my journaling. Works out really well. So we're going to add those in. I feel like this had a little bit of an awkward place, so I decided to go ahead and cover it up with another piece of paper ephemera. So let's go ahead and get that in place and stick these stickers down. I probably need to go back and reinforce all of these stickers, which are a little bit older, put some extra adhesive on them. That's something I like to do from time to time in my memory planner because my memory planner pages do not go into sheet protectors. So they're kind of out in the open, a little bit more open to the elements. I wouldn't say they don't sit in the sun and all of that business, but sometimes with adhesive stickers and things like that, if you know you're wanting it to last a little longer, putting some extra adhesive will do the trick. All right, that week is done. Just need to repunch these holes. Let's get the second week of October done. We are speeding right along. Originally, I was going to do Sweet Rush or use Sweet Rush for both of these weeks, but when I started looking at these pictures, I have a ton of pictures of my boys from this particular week, and I decided to use some of this baseball paper. I used this just a few weeks ago when I did pages that were kind of about all of the sports. Well, you know what? We are still doing all of the sports. Baseball is still a big deal for one of my sons, and I thought it was just really fitting, a little bit more masculine looking for a page that had a ton of pictures of them. They had a fun Cub Scout activity this particular week. We had a baseball game this week as well, and I also have a little printout highlighting that my daughter was picked as player of the week for her soccer club, one of the players of the week, which was a big deal because she's been with the club for a little while. This was the first time she had ever been picked, and so I was super proud of her. So we're documenting a lot of sports, a lot of boy type things this week, and so we're going to go ahead and go with baseball. This is a photo play collection called Play Ball. The one thing I don't like about this particular paper collection is that all of the pages, all of the papers have a gloss to them. And because they have a gloss to them, my Tombow adhesive tape runner does not work on these pages. It doesn't stick to the pages. It's actually kind of really frustrating. So when I decide to adhere these to the paper, I'm going to have to use some regular craft glue. This page is going to be very simple, very linear. I'm going to get these on the paper and then just adhere everything down and go for it. Sometimes when you are wanting to catch up, when you are trying to go fast, simpler is better and not overthinking things. So we're just going to line it up and get these stories down on paper and call it a day. Yes, I would love to have time to do maybe a more in-depth detailed spread, but in this case, it's doing a good job getting everything documented how I want it, and I can still have a chance of catching up by the end of the year. I'm really hoping I'm able to get there. It's a personal goal of mine. I really like to scrapbook a little bit more in the present. I don't like thinking way back. I like to scrapbook as I go through the years. And so I'm hoping I can get caught up or as close as possible. I do have another memory keeping project going on in December, so it'll be hard to balance both of them, but I think I'll be able to do it. That is going to very quickly wrap up these 2 memory planning pages. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Consider hitting that subscribe button as well as the bell notification button. As always, I will link all of the supplies I use down below, including the photo printer that I love, the app that I use to size and print my photos. All of that is linked in the description box below. I want to give a huge shout out to all of my Patreon members. Thank you all so much for all of your support. You're absolutely the best. We would love to have you join our creative community over on Patreon. It is a fun group to be a part of, lots of extra perks. We'd love to have you over there. So if you're interested in checking it out, giving yourself a little holiday present by joining, you can find the link for Patreon down below as well. All right, I hope that all of you have a fabulous day. And as always, keep it creative.